Hello and welcome to Silent Creativa. In the last few weeks, I had quite a lot of sleeping problems, and that's went to cleaning up in the middle of the night. And while I was cleaning up after the tropical repaint, I stumbled across all the different wools I have, or yarns I have. And in my extremely tired mind, the only thing I saw was a rainbow. And I'm normally not the rainbow person, but it was 5 o'clock in the morning. Was awake for over 24 hours at this point, and it seemed to be a good idea to make a rainbow doll. My first attempt was on a Frankie doll, and yeah, first I stabbed myself with the X-Acto knife, and then I slit open her whole head while trying to cut out the eye, and yeah. So I still thought a rainbow doll would be a great idea, and so I took out a Cleo doll and started over again, and I was totally in the mood for big eyes. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of them. But in this moment, it made totally sense for me to make quite huge inserted eyes. Yeah, when I look back at some of the decisions, I think it's not the most typical thing for me. But I finished her anyway and wanted to show the process to you. So I only used my Dremel, or mostly used my Dremel for cutting the eyes open, and a decision that I regret a little bit, but at 5 o'clock in the morning it made perfect sense. Then I started the reroute directly after I was finished with the eyes, and yeah, after I was nearly done with the head, I went to bed, and when I wake up again, I take a look at the doll, and the rainbow hair was still okay, but the eyes, they were staring into my soul. But though I was nearly finished with the whole rerouting process, I thought, just finish her. Maybe it will get better. And this time I decided to reroute the yarn and brush it out later, which was quite a nice idea. But if you want to do this, keep in mind you will have quite a lot of hair, which makes giving her a hairdo quite interesting. There were moments when I thought maybe I should take half of the hair out again, because it was quite a lot of hair. But anyway, when I was finished with the rerouting process, I brushed out the yarn and straightened it, and because of the amount of hair, I decided to make it into two ponytails to have a little bit more access to the inside of the head for making the eyes. Yeah, and then I took out my polymer clay and made a base for the eyes. And yeah, at first I thought it would be a great idea to just make two balls and stick something into it to make the space for the iris, and that didn't went so well. Normally I don't have the problem with it, but this time it was quite difficult. So I decided to just make some spheres, or yeah, eyeballs, and make the space for the pupil and for the iris with a Dremel tool, and you can do it this way, but it's not the most successful way. Especially when you are heavy-handed as I am. So, yeah. But anyway, I still had the picture in mind that came to me when I saw the rainbow yarn. And so far, when I made inserted eyes, I never used glitter because most of the time I think it looks totally strange. But with this doll, I thought it would look great. I don't know why, but I thought it would look great. So I painted the iris blue and then put in as much glitter as I could find or things as I could find, and you don't see anything from the blue in the end, but yeah, I had some quite glittery eyes. And when I tried them into the doll, I thought they looked totally ugly. And then I made a second attempt and made her some golden eyes because I thought rainbow and yeah, the golden pot at the end of the rainbow, and these eyes looked quite terrible too. And so I made a third attempt, and in the end, they look more brownish, but I'm fine with them in the end. They are still extremely huge, but it's okay for me. But I made them the same way I made these eyes, so I thought it would be okay to show you just the footage of the first eyes. Yeah, and then it was time for the repaint process. And I have to say, at this point, I should have learned some things from all the repaints I did so far, but I didn't. So I just tried to slap on lighter chalk pastels on a darker head, and yeah, nothing happened. Or just a little bit happened. And then I thought maybe you should try it with some nail art pigment that are lighter and that are sparkling and glittering, and that didn't do anything too. And I think in the end I made 10 coats of different colors and chalk pastels and glitter and MSC in between, and yeah. As soon as the colors started building up and getting a little bit more solid, I took out my watercolor pencils and yeah, just outlined the eyes and still tried to make the eyes not bigger as they already would be. And I think after 10 layers, I was finally okay with how she looked. I just drew on the stars for the last time and yeah, then gave her a last spray of MSC and was finally able to remove the paper towel that I gave her and go on to the next step. Obviously, the next step was gluing in the eyes. And I tried to make it on camera, but with all the hair in the way, I was struggling a lot. And yeah, so I decided to just glue them in without you. But then I could glue the head or the top of the head back on, and yeah, I did this with hot glue, which went quite okay. The next step was the dress, and I took out some cotton fabric and a lot of different colored satin ribbons. and just made some stripes out of the cotton fabric and pinned the ribbon to one of the sides and used it to hide the seam or the hem. And I made this with all the colors I had and made a skirt out of 3 pieces and then just pinned the finished cotton pieces with the satin ribbon onto it as I thought it would look good. Because I thought a cloudy effect would look nice. And yeah, that was what I wanted to do. I'm not sure that I nailed it, but let's say it's a rainbow cloud. And then I had to make the top part of the dress by just pinning a leftover piece from the yellow cotton fabric onto the doll, made some darts and sew them in place, and then I just had to connect the skirt and the top, and I made this off camera because it was a little bit difficult because of the thickness of the dress, and yeah, I'm quite okay with it. I made some last details off camera, and let's say the dress is extremely heavy, but I think it's quite nice. I took out the polymer clay again because I thought it could look nice if the dress and her hair would have 2 suns and some clouds on it in it. And yeah, for the 2 suns I just made 2 small polymer clay balls, made them a little bit flat, and then used a lot of teeny tiny polymer clay dolls to get the, yeah, don't know how to call it. Let's just go with petals of the sun. And for the clouds, I just made some different sized polymer clay balls and pushed them onto each other. And then I gave everything some more or less kawaii faces. Because at this point, why not? I'm trying to make more and more dolls that are, yeah, more or less cute, and I still have to figure out what I really like and what is too much for me. And to be honest, this doll is just at the border of it. If I would have made a little bit more, I think she would be too much for me. But I'm more or less okay with her. And yeah, to give the whole sun and cloud thing a little bit more cuteness, I went with some chalk pastels to give them some rosy cheeks, and yeah. Then I baked them and thought they look okay, and yeah. I think they are quite cute, but I'm not totally sure that I really like them. Though at this point the doll was already quite a lot of work, I thought, skip the shoes and give her some of another doll. Or first I went through all my shoes that I have, and yeah, finally I decided to take shoes from another doll. And yeah, then I put her into her dress, which was quite a little bit difficult because of the big skirt. And then I glued the sun and the clouds in place already. And yeah, I kind of liked the look so far. And yeah, then I put her shoes on, and it was time to reunite the head with the body and give her some hairstyle. And I tried quite a lot of different things, and in the end, I gave up and just gave her to, let's say, space buns, but yeah. First, I thought to give her more or less a 18th century style, and it was too much hair. And so I just went with space buns, and because of the because of all the hair, it still looks a little bit like she has a heart on the head. And then I cut her bangs to size, straightened them again, and finally. Oh no, and then I glued the second sun and the cloud onto her, and then she was finally done after nearly 2 weeks of work on her. And I decided to take some more time for my dolls now, to focus a little bit more onto details. So far, I did quite a lot of dolls, and I'm still not as happy with the eyes as I could be. And I think now I will take 2 weeks for every doll, and let's see how this will work. So I hope you enjoyed her video, and that you like her. I think she is quite cute. I'm still questioning her eyes, but she's cute. And yeah, if you like to like and leave a comment, and until next time, bye.